Well, hello and welcome back to the Jeff Daugherty Show, Christian Whistleblower YouTube page, YouTube channel. Glad to have you here. We've been doing a lot of work lately, and I hope that you've been following along. I hope that you have been enjoying it. We just released a video earlier today uh, highlighting some of the equipment that I've been able to purchase due to the help that you have been, the sponsorship that you've been offering, and I truly appreciate it. And we're looking forward to getting some exciting results and being able to share some great testimonies. I know that's a silly little Christian word, but some great testimonies of doing some very interesting and helpful things. I've had a question over and over the last week or two, not from the same person, but from several people, and it's a little bit uncomfortable because I'm not an expert, and it's a little bit uncomfortable because it's outside of my comfort zone. I guess that's the definition of uncomfortable, isn't it? But I recognize that, I've been 5 years now breaking apart the Bible, and of course we're just getting the start on that, but I'm very much a text guy. I'm very much, anthropology background, Christian minister, the whole story. And I don't do well with the woo-woo, but I do realize that it is probably time that we have to start expanding beyond just what's written. And the more that we look and the more that we study, it seems that we have this UFO, ET, alien agenda unmistakably running throughout the New Testament and even the Old Testament. And there's just an incredible synergy of all of these stories, a synchronicity, I guess is the better word, of all the ancient stories coming together. So I realize and recognize that there's probably some growth and some expansion, and really just I don't know if it's learning maybe the rest of the story and putting it all together. But at any rate, I get asked a lot about the Orion Wars, and I don't know enough about it really to be making a program about it, and yet I kind of have to because I keep getting questions, and we do like to be responsive. And by we, I mean me. That's all there is here now. But the Orion Wars, it goes back to really the teachings of this place, which is energetic synthesis. And I have reached out to Lisa Renee, who's kind of the founder. Here she is right there. And it's only been a few days, so it's not like I'm going to say, oh, she hasn't written me back, because of course she's a busy lady. But it makes me it intrigues me, and yet it makes me somewhat uncomfortable. So this is really the basis of the whole Orion Wars thing. So I hope to have Lisa Renee contact me. I hope to be able to talk with her. I hope to be able to share with her, and it'd be great to have her come on with me and be able to explain what her system and her beliefs are. And I will say this about it: as I look at it and as I study it, it's like a wormhole within it's a rat hole with a rabbit hole within a rabbit hole within a rabbit hole within a rabbit hole within a rabbit hole. But each rabbit hole is so intricate. Each rabbit hole is so well thought out, and it's so well done, and it's very impressive. And I believe, from what I have been able to discern, that Lisa Renee received all this information through a download, and I think she called it a spontaneous Kundalini event, and a huge download of data. So of course that is completely outside my comfort zone. I've never been comfortable with channeling, and I've never been comfortable with ceding your personal ownership of your personal. I've never been comfortable with ceding access to your own spirit to other people, letting go of your own divine sovereignty. But I bet it's been 2 or 3 years ago, I found her stuff, was looking at it, was reading it, got sidetracked, but it did resonate with me. And she has a teaching about creating a shield, and I still use that to this day. I modified it a little bit, but I still use it to this day. So this is the source, as far as I can tell, of this talk about the Orion Wars. But as we look at what the Orion Wars are in response to the questions I was asked, you're going to see a lot of correlations with what we've been teaching here over the past couple of weeks, and see how they're beginning to all tie in. Because we just talked about, what was it the other day? We had is there a connection between the Nephilim and Orion, right? So we just were talking about this very thing, and then I keep getting this question, and it just is, it's very, very interesting to me. So it's definitely something that I hope we can get a hold of Lisa Renee. I hope we can get her on to talk about her work. And in the meantime, we'll rush in where angels fear to tread, and I'll do my best to answer your questions. But basically, in referencing the Orion Wars, according to this Ascension Glossary, and this is a publication or a work of the energetic synthesis, this is part of their stuff, and I like the way it looks. Of course, it's got a very Wikipedia look. That's one of the impressive things about this information. It is so well synthesized. It is so well organized, and it's extremely well written. It's very logical, and all the pieces fit together. Just some of it is like, wow, really. But Orion Wars, referencing the main battles in human galactic history. And it says the main battles in human galactic history. Just the fact that there's such a thing as human galactic history is difficult for an old Pentecostal preacher to wrap his mind around, but yet he knows that there's probably more to the story than what he's been able to put together. And the fact that Brother Jeff, in doing this broadcast about Lisa Renee, tells you at least something about where my mind is in regards to her and her work. But the main battles, they claim, in human galactic history were fought in the constellation of Orion. So these many wars are referred to as the Orion Wars. And this is where we start getting to, like I say, rabbit hole within rabbit hole within rabbit hole. But I don't mean rabbit hole derisively. Because it says, in our universal time matrix, the war started over territories in the constellation of Lyra, the cradle of Lyra. And you know, I share with you a very effective and profound tool. You never read past a word that you don't understand, because if you do, you won't be able to comprehend anything else that you read after passing over the word that you don't have a total comprehension of. So practicing what we preach, even though I hate to think of myself as preaching. What do they mean by the universal time matrix? And look at this beautifully drawn, thought out chart over here too. We'll just take a quick preview peek at this. This is the universal time matrix. I mean, they have got it all figured out. Trust me, it's really good stuff. From what I can see now, it's impressive stuff. I'm not positive it's good yet, but it's impressive. But the universal time matrix, what was the question again? What is our universal time matrix? And our universal time matrix is 12 dimensions. And if you look at this is my desktop. I don't think there's anything there that you don't want to see. Look what I've been looking at and studying lately. You can't see the whole thing up. If we'll just do this, it's kind of shoddy, but we'll move it up. You see that? The 12 chakra system. So my mind has been working along these lines. And then I keep getting this question, what about the Orion Wars? What about the Orion Wars? What about the Orion Wars? And then we start talking about the Orion Wars. The first thing we talk about is 12 dimensions. And of course, 12 dimensions is exactly what I've been studying and looking at as far as the chakras go. And then there's a correlation to the 12 apostles, which of course gets right back to the teachings of the Christ. But anyway, we're talking about a time cosmology of 12 dimensions of simultaneous time-space cycles. And we've been talking about, for lack of a better term, parallel universes, parallel consciousness, and even the work we're doing evangelizing the dead, or I just bought a URL today, Ghost Helpers. I know it's kind of campy, kind of silly, but yet it is at the same time very descriptive of what we're doing. So we're going to be building that out, ghosthelpers.com. And even talking about the Ghost Helpers work, and I'll just call it that from now on, Ghost Helpers. Even the Ghost Helpers work is a nod to the realization that we are in simultaneous time-space cycles. You know, we think of layers here, astral, you know, then etheric, but really I think it's simultaneously existing. At least that's my current understanding. It's simultaneously existing, and it's like tuning our radio into different frequencies. So I do have a real, my blink has a real good feeling about talking about 12 dimensions. My blink has a real good feeling about simultaneous time-space cycles. And this is all within a 15-dimensional wave spectrum. Each harmonic universe is equal to the triad of spiritual identity that our consciousness evolves through as our personality. And you know, I'm talking all the time about ascension and development. And the teachings here are that we start out as a soul, and then we go into an oversoul, and then we go into an avatar or a Christos, and then we get up to founder consciousness. And you can see it's very similar to my ideas and thoughts about us and our ascension and what we were calling, the word we're not using anymore, what the Bible calls Elohim. And we're talking about the inexpressible ones. And then founder, I'm sure, would be kind of analogous to the inexpressible one that I'm talking about. And she says the three original primal order sound fields that make up the ray aspects of our entire universal creation in the universal time matrix. So that's what her logo really is these three emanations of what she's describing as Mother Ark, Father Ark, and the Ray Son of Christos. And we're also talking, of course, about the secret book of John. We're going through the Nag Hammadi. And this is very, very analogous to what we've been teaching the past few weeks in the secret book of John. So I am finding a lot of synergy. I'm finding a lot of connection, finding a lot to like in these. But, I just don't know enough about it yet. But we're trying to answer your question. So that's, kind of the basis of what she was talking about within the universal time matrix. So that's really our growth, I guess, from, I think down here is probably what, soul, and that's probably monad, and then that's probably Christos, founder. So it's very, very interesting and you can see, look, I mean, even look at this. If you remember, I had, not too long ago, I had the, oh, that won't blow up for me. I had the spirals that when I was talking about above the flat circle. So a lot of synchronicity, I guess, is the correct word there. And I wish I could blow this up. I'll have to do that off the air. So very, very interesting stuff. So that's the universal time matrix. So there's a lot of battles going on in human history, human galactic history. They've been all taking place in the constellation of Orion. And because of that, they're called the Orion War. They were started in our universal time matrix. So in the universe, I guess, or the matrix reality in which we live, is what she's saying. And now we know what that is. They were started over territories in the constellation of Lyra, the cradle of Lyra, but soon Lyran wars spread to the constellation of Orion. So again, not reading over a term, we're going to go back and, I mean, what a great, great resource. I have got to put something together like this for new cosmic knowledge, and my son has been telling me for 5 years to do it, and I just get this so much information and so much revelation. I don't get it downloaded. I get it in inspiration. It's not words, it's not symbols. I just get it, but I am the kind of guy that has to go and systematize it. And it's obvious that Lisa's had some help on this. And maybe that's what I need. Need somebody to help a brother out. But as she said, the three main wars were fought in the Orion constellation, but there were some wars in Lyrans. And I mean, again, talking about synchronicity, the Lyrans are the advanced races that created the Elohim. And that's who we call the inexpressible ones. And we've been talking about who were the creators of the Elohim. And here comes Lisa Renee to say, oh, the creators of the Elohim were the Lyrans. They created the Elohim in the avatar matrix. What's an avatar matrix? Well, an avatar is a term used to describe a 12-dimensional simultaneously conscious being. Now, I can understand that, and that's kind of what we're trying to get to, isn't it? We're trying to get to the place where we are avatars, where we are conscious across all 12 dimensions, if in fact there are 12 dimensions, so that we can simultaneously exist and be aware of the complete manifestation of our, what you call it, time conscious matrix or whatever. I see where she's going with it. And it's the highest expression of consciousness of the original human divine blueprint. And you know, I'm always talking about the Elohim and the Christ coming to us, show us how to take ourselves to the highest. I think I've even used these words, the highest expression of consciousness of the original human divine blueprint, which we see unfolded in the book of Genesis. This is the state of being of a true Christ consciousness. 12 DNA strands or silicate matrix. Here again, we got to go. The original human genetic imprint was designed to manifest 12 strings of DNA, which would allow for interdimensional travel and existence without deterioration of the biological form. It must be repaired, built, or activated. The original angelic human 12-strand DNA is called diamond sun DNA. We're going to leave that for a minute. The Orphan original prototype for angelic humans was created by the founders as a 24-strand DNA called the double diamond sun body DNA. Further, there's a 48-strand DNA founder race called the Emerald Sun. Wow, do we dare? Original human genetic imprint was designed to manifest 12 strings of DNA, which is, we know this, deoxyribonucleic acid. Deoxyribonucleic acid, and of course, you know, it's what, 1 and 2 strands, right? And what Lisa Renee is saying, that it's originally genetically meant to manifest 12 strings, so 6 times this, right? If I'm following her logic correctly. And it would allow for interdimensional travel. And think about it. Think about it. This is good. There's 2 strands of DNA, right? Human DNA, 2 strands. If there's 12 dimensions, 6 times 2 would be 12, wouldn't it? The original human genetic imprint was designed with 12 strands of DNA, and it needs to be repaired, built, or activated. The original angelic human has 12-strand DNA. It's called the diamond sun DNA, and again, we can't go past words as we won't understand them. And the Orion is a part of it. And what's the Orion? It's the double diamond sun body of the Christos that's here on the planet to direct the universal threefold founder flame frequencies to repair the architecture of the planetary grid, as well as communicate with the Aurora crystal matrix, re-encryption of elemental body within the Master Christos collective. So obviously we can't, we're a little bit far down the rabbit hole there, but this 12-strand DNA from the guardian races, this was the potential DNA in higher consciousness experienced by angelic humans in their previous lifetime cycles on the 5D parallel Earth. Era has been used to describe the future Earth in its 5D form. Fascinating. The double diamond sun refers to the original founder, Orphem Christos. We're talking about the inexpressible one there. An embodied 12-strand DNA with a further access to another 24 dimensions while in a human body. I like this because it offers us a lot of growth. It offers us a lot of development. So this is the state of an avatar would be someone that has come to this 12 DNA strand silicate matrix understanding. See what that says right there. I don't know if you can read it. And I don't know if this, will this pop for me? It will, look at that. I told you it was rabbit hole within rabbit hole within rabbit hole, didn't I? Fourth triad of intelligence is the avatar Christos matrix. Fourth, 3 chakras. Third triad begins synthesis of the galactivation. I can dig that. Avatar is the energetic reality of unity as a consciousness field. Layer 1, layer 2, Christ mind, Buddhic mind. Solar logos or unity consciousness. Hydroplasmic liquid, we kind of can understand what that would be. Enlightened extraterrestrial contact beings, universal services, law of one. Wow. Interesting stuff. Interesting stuff. So that's what an avatar is. Someone that's in those full 12. And the Lyrans are the advanced races that created Elohim in the avatar matrix. And of course, the Elohim are the gods and goddesses, male and female, that created this heaven and earth. We know that. And we started with this because we had to talk about the Lyran Wars, because they are what led to the Orion Wars, which are what we're talking about right now. Just having a little bit of eye trouble. Sorry about that. But soon the Lyran Wars spread to Orion, which is kind of our story. And it became a war between the false king of tyranny mindsets and ideologies with the ideology of service to others, which follow the law of one. Essentially, this is the seed of war over consciousness between Christ and the Antichrist. And how often do we talk about this kind of stuff, huh? So, again, we've got to backtrack and make sure that we don't go past anything that we don't understand, right? Who is the false king of tyranny? I think you already know what I'm thinking. This would be Yaldabaoth, the Lord, Marduk, Yahweh, rat bastard. The false king of tyranny, the negative aliens archon. Who's the king of the archons? That's right, Yaldabaoth, the Lord, Marduk, Yahweh, Jehovah, rat bastard. And the negative alien archons, or the NAA, do not want to heal. Thereby, they don't want to integrate into human society as an equal. Because and this is so true, because Yaldabaoth, Yahweh, that's the original reason why he went after Job, and why he went after Cain, and why he destroyed the original earth, because he does not want humanity to be healed. He does not want to be integrated into the society as an equal. He wants to rule humans. He wants to rule the earth as an absolute authority with an iron fist in the controller archetype of the false king of tyranny. The head controller ego archetype is a draconian. We go with more synergy, draconian, reptilian, hierarchical belief system originating within Orion, which is the false king of tyranny. It's the main ideology of that NAA that we're talking about, that want to enslave this planet, rule through slavery. That's what we talk about all the time. So I'm seeing so much synergy. It's very interesting. Through consumptive modeling, and you know that this is going to be something we've always talked about and continue to talk about. Consumptive modeling is, I won't even bother putting those away because I'll probably need them again. Consumptive modeling is taking, stealing, and superimposing or using of another's energetic resources or life force for personal use, personal gain, or to build upon the law in the law of structure which is enforced by the false king or tyranny or false god. So what does she mean by superimposing? In the awakening human, especially our particular group of world healers, we're observing all kinds of new energetic phenomena. Superimposing forces drain or create discordance in a person's energy field. The person's not consciously aware of this attachment they've been imposed on. So it's really psychic or spiritual vampirism, which we talk about a lot. And they use it to build upon the law of structure, universal laws governing structure, which exist at both energetic levels and physical levels for absolutely everything in existence. So they're using laws to steal our energy. And it's being enforced by the false king of tyranny, or the false gods. And who are the false gods? They are the eons or the aeons, the archons for in a short in a short definition. What we're talking about is corporatocracy, consumptive modeling. And how often do I talk about that? You get up in the morning, you slog through, and we've been through all this. So that's what the ruler archetype is. Religious violence, we talk about it all the time. And look at this. Salvationistic theology. Have you ever heard me talk about the horrible lie of salvationistic theology? How does Lisa Renee define it? It's a reptilian creation that locks us into this idea of being people needing saviors. I got to do it. I got to look at this. Crucifixion implants. Wow. Crucifixion is represented. It is they invade planetary brain in the magnetosphere to implant holographic technology to project on the left side of human female blockages to prevent humans from ascension. Crucifixion is represented in the pictures idols of Jesus on the cross. The image is used to crucify humanity and keep the implants in place. The crown of thorns impaled on hands and feet, the spleen implant to stop changes to blood chemistry, stop ability to transcend karmic record in the blood. This is fascinating stuff. She's like the nut and bolts. Well, she's actually the woo-woo part of my nut and bolts. Very interesting stuff. So this is what I talk about in a deeper, more woo-woo level, I guess. Crucifixion implants. And I talk about that incessantly. And if you're still listening, you're interested in that kind of stuff, obviously. Religious violence, salvationistic theology, false gods. The ego archetype is represented as the angry father god that will protect you if you do his bidding and worship him, or you're condemned to hell. It's the reptilian controller archetype. A lot of synergy here, folks. A lot of synergy here, folks. And of course, we know service to others, law of one. What is that? Excellent to each other. Essentially, this is the seed of the war over the consciousness between the Christ, which is the crystal star Christ consciousness, in Lisa Renee's line of thinking, and the Antichrist, which is an imposter spirit that is saying words or expressions, making representations that does not embody, nor comprehend, nor behave in accordance with. How many times have we talked about Yahweh faking himself to be the Christ, faking himself to be the Lord, hiding his own identity when he comes back in Revelation, when he wants to come back. But he's not going to come back if we can get information like this out to more people, because they'll understand and we'll be able to prevent it. Thus my discussing this and wanting to discuss more of it with the founder of this school of thought. So now we know what the Lyran Wars were. The Lyran Wars spread to Orion constellation, gets us back to talking about the Orion Wars, which was the original question. Main humanoid races were committed to the law of one, the service of others, Christic theology, being excellent to each other. The opposing groups were mixtures of humanoids and reptilian races. This is almost too crazy, because how many times have we talked about reptilians and the humans? My last book, Serpents and Doves, Reptilians and Humans, and the Garden of the Gods. We've talked about the human races and the reptilian races, and how there's probably still some good on each side. Very, very interesting stuff. The opposing groups were mixtures of humanoids and reptilians that propagated service to self and antichrist methods. So be excellent to each other is the law of one, service to others. So you can guess that service to self is probably be excellent to yourself. The negative polarization, 3 levels of ego, and it's a low vibration. It makes us want to, just like it says, service ourselves, not caring about others. These wars over tyrannical control and service to self ideology originated in the constellations Draco, which seems to be the source of at least some of the reptilian influence, and Orion, which we know the Nephilim likely came from. We talked about that, I think it was yesterday. The genetic hatred generated from the Orion group digressed into the violent killing and destruction at the expense of others. And we've talked about that tremendously, which resulted in the victim-victimizer mind control. And we're probably going to close with this. The main goal of the victim-victimizer mind control is based on intentionally programming humanity to think thoughts of violence and hatred, to believe the archonic deception behaviors and their archonic deception strategies as a fear-based control human belief system. As humans feed their power into these systems and hierarchies based upon violence, lies, deception, the deception is covered up, and its fabricated reality becomes an anti-human value system. As long as humans think thoughts and maintain beliefs of the predator mind, reptilian mind, the lower reptilian mind, and feed into the alien software programs, we create victims and victimizers, spread more hatred and violence. Humans exchange roles between acting as the archetypal victim, and then because they don't want to be a victim anymore, they switch the role to become a victimizer. They're both forms of inner and outer violence. This is very much akin to what we were talking about yesterday about Christianity spreading a virus. Victim-victimizer virus, and it is archonic deception behaviors. Behaviors introduced from the archons into humans, mainly through Christianity, through Islam, through Judaism, through the Abrahamic faiths. It creates this whole victim-victimizer. You can see it in this world. In this world, if you don't become one of these, if you don't become a victimizer, you're going to become a victim. Because why? It's a dog-eat-dog world. It's the law of the jungle, right? It's the golden rule. He who has the golds makes the rules. Very, very interesting. So that's what the Orion Wars were. And in a very real sense, in an energetic sense, the Orion Wars continue today, don't they? Through this victim-victimizer mind control, through this service to self ideology that is controlling the planet now, and those of us that are trying to get back to being excellent to one another. The Christ and Antichrist, the law of one and the service to others, Christic theology, ideology. So the false king of tyranny is still fighting this war, and it's become a spiritual war in our universal time matrix. I wonder if we can leverage ourselves in the other matrices to give us help through this dimension. See, even something, a random thought I had 3 years ago begins to tie in. So you asked me what I know what the Orion Wars were. And look, Leak Project is live now with Vatican and Cult of Saturn connection, Serpent and Pinecone, Anunnaki, pineal gland, and DNA manipulation. There you have it, folks. You asked what the Orion Wars are, and I've told you what the Orion Wars are. And again, we're going back. It's all founded in the work of energetic synthesis, which is the work, of course, of Lisa Renee, who, yes, I've contacted, and who I hope that we can talk with. What does she say here?
I am Lisa Renee, welcome to Energetic Synthesis. I am Lisa Renee, your Ascension Guide.
That's kind of a creepy video. She sounds like an automaton. It's, you know, not everybody hits a home run every video. Trust me, I know that, right? You know that. So interesting stuff. That's what we've been talking about today. That's your answer for what are the Orion Wars. I find it fascinating. And if you want to contact Lisa Renee and say, hey, talk to Jeff, what I would do is go here to Energetic Synthesis, or better yet, go to her YouTube channel. And it's if you just look up Lisa Renee YouTube channel, it'll come up, because this is how I contacted her. Go to her Lisa Renee YouTube channel, go to About, and then once you go to About, a little blurb pops up. It gives you a thing where you can send her a message. Send her a message and say, hey, the Christian Whistleblower, Jeff Daugherty, I follow him. He's not too bad. There seems to be a lot of synchronicity between your teachings. Give him a call. We'd like to learn more about your stuff and how it relates to the stuff we already like. So do that. Go to the Lisa Renee YouTube, hit About, go to the message blurb, hit it, say, hey, Lisa Renee, get in contact with Jeff, because I would like to have her on the program to explain some of her super duper interesting stuff. Well, I'm Jeffrey Daugherty, the Christian Whistleblower. I'm here to help you unwind your mind so you can unindoctrinate yourself. And, of course, as always, I'm encouraging you, be excellent to each other.